Lahat ng tawanan, lahat ng iyong all-time hits. Ang tanging huntahan ng Masanglamaw. Number 1 sa Mega Manila, nationwide pa. Broadcasting from TGON, TVH Group of Networks. Dito lang sa inyong iisang himpilan. Cool FM. You are listening to Cool FM. Live from Cool Studios. This is koolNews at 4.
Good afternoon, and this is koolNews at 4. I'm Carlo. Despite political tensions between the Marcos administration and the Dutertes, Speaker Ferdinand Martin Romualdez and 202 other members of the House of Representatives received a warm reception during the Bangong Pilipinas Subvisual Fair here on Thursday. During the four BBSP programs here in Davao City, Romualdez and his fellow lawmakers were greeted by a loud crowd at the University of Southeastern Philippines. In response, Romualdez said that he loves Davao City and the entire Mindanao, saying that the region is always in their minds despite lawmakers being busy with the budget season and other hearings. To be honest, this Bagong Pilipinas Servicio Fair has been a long-time concept of our beloved president to extend help and uplift the lives of Filipinos. And to be honest, I'm happy as a leader of the House of Representatives that almost all lawmakers are with me, Romualdez said. Even if they are so busy with the districts, their advocacies, they flew in yesterday, early morning, arrived here without sleep. Because we want to show to Davao City that we love you all. We love you, Davao. We love you, Mindanao. You play a big part in our minds regarding our aspirations to give the people a good life, he added. According to Romualdez, he does not mind endorsing some sleepless nights as long as the people of Davao are happy. That's why I, Romualdez, as leader of the House of Representatives, is ready to serve and listen to your grievances. And of course, we love everyone from Davao City, he added. This is the first night that Romualdez attended an event in Davao City ever since the fallout of the unity, the campaign tandem of Romualdez's cousin, President Ferdinand Bongbong R. Marcos Jr., and her running mate, Vice President Sara Duterte. Davao is the hometown of the Dutertes, who have ruled the city for decades. The Vice President and her father, former President Rodrigo Duterte, used to be city mayors. Currently, Vice President Sara's brother, Sebastian Duterte, is the local chief executive. Romualdez was a campaign manager for Vice President Sara, who in the past credited the speaker for largely contributing to her 2022 victory. Romualdez and the Vice President, however, eventually had disagreements, which many observers believe started when Pampanga 2nd District Representative Gloria Macapagal Arroyo was stripped of her senior deputy speaker role. Duterte, who considers Arroyo as her political mentor, resigned from Romualdez Lakas CMD after the incident. At the Davao BPSF, at least 1.2 billion pesos worth of government assistance and services were distributed to over 250,000 residents of the Davao region. The BPSP in Davao is the 23rd overall and the third in the Davao region, with the first being in Moncayo, Davao de Oro, last September 2023. Last June 7, a BPSF was held in Dagam, Davao del Norte, where 913 million pesos worth of aid and services were delivered to 250,000 beneficiaries. The total number of influenza-like illnesses in the country for the first 8 months of the year has decreased compared to the same period in 2023, the Department of Health said. In a statement on Thursday, the DOH said there were a total of 102,216 ILIs from January 1 to August 24, which is 80% lower than the 125,153 cases in the same period last year. However, the DOH noted there has been an increase in cases over the past 3 to 4 weeks in all regions, except in the Bangsamoro Autonomous Region and Muslim Mindanao. It said the 9,491 cases recorded from July 28 to August 10 is 55% higher than the 6,124 cases reported from the earlier period, July 1 to 27. According to the department, ILIs are a group of illnesses that present common symptoms, including fever, cough, sore throat, colds, body aches, and headaches. The top three causes of ILIs in the country for this reporting period are influenza A, which has 177 with 48.5%, rhinovirus with 100, with 770 with 28.2%, and enterovirus with 675 with 24.7%. As the rainy season continues, we encourage the public to take proactive measures against influenza-like illnesses. Eat well, stay active, and get vaccinated. Wash and clean hands often, and wear a face mask properly when sick or in crowded conditions to safeguard everyone's health. These same measures protect against many other illnesses. Let us keep our case counts low, said Health Secretary Teodoro Herbosa, as quoted in the statement. The DOH said it is now procuring vaccines for influenza through a bidding process. Senator Risa Hontiveros revealed at the Senate hearing on Thursday that the Sabah stamp on Sheila Guo's passport was fake. Sheila was previously identified as the sister of dismissed Baba Mayor Alice Guo, who is the subject of a Senate probe over her supposed ties to Philippine offshore gaming operators. According to Hontiveros, they learned from friends in Sabah, Malaysia that Sheila had no legal entry in Sabah. Even the stamp on the passport indicating that you arrived in Sabah is said to be fake. They compared it to the real stamp that should have been stamped in Sabah. The senator said at the resumption of the Senate Subcommittee on Justice and Human Rights hearing. But what they confirmed, and this is a credible information of the subcommittee, you arrived in Kuala Lumpur on July 18, Hontiveros added. Her information contradicted Sheila's testimony during the panel's hearing last August 27. Hontiveros recalled Sheila saying during the last hearing that she and her sibling Wesley, along with Alice, left the Philippines by sea on July 18. They supposedly arrived in Xiangpena, or Chinese name of Semporna, which is located in Sabah, Malaysia. Do you remember if your passport was stamped there in Xiangpena? Was it stamped immediately upon your arrival? Hontiveros asked. It was a stamp. We went straight to Malaysia. Is Xiangpena in Malaysia? I'm not sure, Sheila answered. Hontiveros presented again before the committee a copy of Sheila's passport supposedly bearing a Sabah stamp. We showed this in the previous hearing. Your passport has a stamp that says entered Sabah, so there is a stamp. The problem is the stamp doesn't match the genuine stamp that should be used if you had really disembarked in Sabah, the senator said. According to these stamps, you enter Malaysia on July 18 or, as some read it, July 19 but via Kuala Lumpur. This kind of stamp is used only for arrivals from Kuala Lumpur, and the stamp indicates that you only enter Sabah on July 19. Therefore, you should have arrived in Kuala Lumpur before Sabah, she said. Sheila earlier told the committee that from their farm in Baba Tarlac, land fetched them, and they traveled for about 5 hours before arriving at a port where they boarded a small white boat. They later transferred to a big fishing boat and another boat before arriving in Sabah and spent 4 to 5 days there. From Malaysia, they flew to Singapore and stayed for several days there before taking a ferry to Batam, Indonesia. 3 days after arriving in Indonesia on August 18, Sheila and Alice's business brother, Kased Raong, was arrested by Indonesian authorities. Alice was also arrested in Indonesia, but only since yesterday. The dismissed mayor has been ordered arrested by the Senate for her repeated failure to attend the past hearings of the Chambers Committee on Women, headed by Hontiveros. Give me one moment. And President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. on Thursday said considerate steps are already underway to ensure that the decline in inflation rate will be experienced by all Filipinos. Marcos, who also chairs the National Economic and Development Authority Board, made the pronouncement after the Philippine Statistics Authority reported that the country's inflation eased to 3.3% in August. The work continues. We will continue to make progress to ensure that every Filipino will have a more comfortable life through quality jobs and cheap goods, he noted. Among these measures is the expansion of the Katiwa centers, which he said will help maintain the affordable price of commodities. He also announced that government will begin the controlled rollout of the African swine fever vaccine so that there will be enough supply and a price hike will be avoided. Furthermore, measures to stabilize transportation and fuel prices will be implemented. These are considerate steps we're taking to make sure that the Bangkok Filipinos will promise as well where it matters the most at home, he said. According to Marcos, apart from the inflation, the reduction of rice crops decreased rice inflation from 20.9% to 14.7%. Meat inflation, on the other hand, was also brought down from 4.8 to 4%. It is now 4:11 in the afternoon, and Cool News at 4 will be right back. You're still listening to koolNews at 4. A joint Senate panel has recommended the approval of a measure that would expand the mandate and scope of the Movie and Television Review and Classification Board to include online streaming service. Senate Bill number 2805 was contained in Committee Report number 311, prepared by four panels: Public Information and Mass Media, Ways and Means, Finance, and Games and Amusement. The proposed law seeks to strengthen and expand the mandate, capabilities, and organizational structure of the regulatory body. As stipulated in the bill, the MTRCB's task of screening, review, and examination of movies and other materials for public viewing, would cover those streamed through on-demand online streaming services and any other technology of similar nature. The measure defines on-demand online streaming service as streaming media service that include online created content services platforms that are publicly offered and accessible to the users through the internet. The users will need an internet connection to stream or download the video content that may be viewed online, it further said. Under the bill, on-demand streaming services would be required the following: register with the MTRCB in order to operate in the Philippines, comply with the provisions of the measure, provide informative descriptions, both in English and Filipino languages, of the ratings and classifications on the content offered to further assist users in making informed decisions regarding their viewing choices. Ensure that appropriate classifications and ratings are prominently displayed to notify users on all the content offered. The same shall also be displayed at the commencement of the movies, television programs, and series, including their publicity materials such as advertisements, trailers, and similar materials. Submit to the MTRCB a comprehensive list of all the content offered in its service, accompanied by the respective classifications and ratings. Implement appropriate safety measures for the users to restrict content and control access for parental control or for different users, taking into consideration the appropriateness of classification and ratings. Establish a mechanism that allows users to submit feedback within the on-demand streaming service on the compliance of the movie, television program, or series corresponding to the classifications and ratings displayed. Ensure comprehensive contact information, which includes the name of the person in charge, email address, landline, and cell phone numbers, as well as the physical address in the Philippines, for both the regulatory board and the on-demand streaming service. Establish an effective mechanism to act timely to users' complaints or inquiries on classifications and ratings in accordance with the provisions of the measure, and to report promptly to the MTRCB on the said complaint or inquiries and the action taken thereon, and provide a frequently asked question on the foregoing and help center accessible to the users. If enacted into law, violators may face not just a criminal penalty but administrative sanctions. These include the suspension, non-renewal, or cancellation of the license or permits, suspension of TV programs, closure of movie theaters, TV stations, cable television networks, establishments, or entities engaged in the public viewing of movies, TV programs, and public TV materials, and the blocking of on-demand streaming sites or services that violate the provisions of the measure. Also, under the bill, the MTRCB would have the power to issue subpoena, cite and condemn persons or entities willfully disregarding its process, and direct appropriate government agencies to enforce its decisions and issuance. The La Nina weather phenomenon could boost local sugar production depending on its timing, the Sugar Regulatory Administration said. SRA Administrator Pablo Luis Ascona said if the weather phenomenon occurs in the last quarter of this year as predicted, it will coincide with the period where sugar canes have grown. It will increase the tonnage, and hopefully our sugar canes will grow longer because it has enough water, Ascona said. With the rains coming, if La Nina comes, hopefully we can recover. However, the SRA chief said sugar canes might not hither or produce shoots from the base of a sugarcane plant if it's raining constantly. The Philippine Atmospheric Geophysical and Astronomical Services Administration, or PAGASA, had projected that La Nina, characterized by above normal rainfall conditions, would most likely form between this month and November. Most climate models combined suggest a 66% chance of La Nina forming in September to November and will likely persist until the first quarter of 2025, Pakistan said in its monitoring earlier. Based on the drop sugar order sent by the SRA, sugar output for crop year 2024 to 2025 could reach 1.78%, million metric tons, which if attained is 7.4% lower than 1.922 million metric tons of sugar produced in crop year 2023 to 2024. The SRA attributed the lower estimate to the anticipated negative effect of the prolonged El Nino phenomenon, unless the La Nina phenomenon brings about an increase in production. Axcona explained that local farmers were forced to replant their crops as sugarcanes dried up because of the El Nino-induced dry spell. Given this, the SRA will allocate the entire production to B, or solely for domestic consumption, as it has done in previous crop years, as domestic output is insufficient to meet the demand for this sweetener. The SRA had assured the public of a stable supply of sugar until the end of the milling season around May or June next year, amid the projected decrease in output. Axcona said the SRA board already signed Sugar Order Number 1, governing the sugar policy for crop year 2024 to 2025, September 1 this year to August 31st, 2025, and is awaiting the Department of Agriculture's approval. The SRA earlier said the majority of mills were keen on delaying the start of the milling season, supposedly to begin on September 15 to improve cane maturity and increase volumes following the impact of the El Nino climate phenomenon on the harvest. Axcona said most mills were willing to adjust their milling schedule to October 1st, and only First Farmers Holding Corporation decided to begin milling on time. Refined sugar was priced from 74 pesos to 100 pesos per kilogram as of Tuesday, lower than 85 pesos to 110 pesos a year ago, based on the DA's price monitoring. Brown sugar ranged from 65 pesos to 90 pesos per kilogram, also lower than 78 pesos to 95 pesos per kilogram previously. And now let's get into the headlines from around the world, as Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim said Thursday that Malaysia will press on with oil and gas exploration in the South China Sea after a leaked diplomatic document showed opposition from Beijing. However, he took a conciliatory stand, describing China as a friend and saying both countries would discuss the issue amicably. Malaysia's state-run oil firm Petronas operates oil and gas fields in the sea within its exclusive economic zone. China claims almost all of the economic virtual waterway despite competing claims from other countries and an international court ruling that its assertion has no legal basis. What we did in terms of oil exploration is certainly within our waters, Anwar told reporters traveling him on a visit to Russia. His news conference was carried live on Malaysian TV. We will probably respond to China in explaining our position that we have never intended to be in any way provocative, unnecessary hostile, Anwar said. China is a great friend, but we will of course have to operate in our waters and secure economic advantage, including drilling for oil in our territory. Pope Francis and the top Indonesian imam warned Thursday against using religion to stoke conflict before the 87-year-old pontiff holds mass for tens of thousands at the football stadium in Jakarta. The Pope and Grand Imam Nasaruddin Umar signed a declaration at Istiqlal Mosque in one of the final major set pieces of Francis' three-day visit to the world's most populous Muslim-majority nation, which kicked off a grueling tour around the Asia-Pacific. Unity between faiths has been the central theme of the pontiff's trip, and the declaration called for religious harmony for the sake of unity at Southeast Asia's biggest mosque. The global phenomenon of demilitarization is marked especially by widespread violence and conflict. It is particularly worrying that religion is often instrumentalized in this regard, it read. The role of religion should include promoting and safeguarding the dignity of every human life. In a speech before leaders of Indonesia's 6 recognized religions, Islam, Protestantism, Catholicism, Buddhism, Hinduism, and Confucianism, Francis underlined a message of unity, saying we are all brothers, all pilgrims, all on our way to God, beyond what differentiates us. The Pope was welcomed to the mosque by a percussion band often used in Islamic ceremonies. Once seated, he and Nasaruddin listened to a passage from a Quran recited by a young blind girl, and a passage from the Bible. Francis also visited a tunnel of friendship that links to the mosque to Jakarta's cathedral across the street, signing a section of the tunnel. And that concludes Cool News at 4. As always, if you have any news, feedback, or suggestions that you would like to share, you can get in touch with us at tvhthephilippines.news@gmail.com. Until then, I'm Cairo. Stay safe and good afternoon.